right, we are live. Welcome. Yeah, I want to do a quick shout out for Gary Kelly. I don't know how you did it, but you got into the comments and at least 5 minutes before we went live. So good to see you there, Gary. Anybody who's joining live, if you can drop a note in the comment where you're from, that'll be great. It's always cool to see where everyone's coming in from. And we're going to get into the webinar show for today. Pretty excited by it as always. This is our agency, a specific webinar where we bring on agency partners who are experts in their area of field to really show us behind the agency curtain, experts from our agency partners. What are the things that they focus on? What are their inside secrets? What are the things that they want to teach us on to really help us grow our business? And we're going to jump into that in a second. Hey, Dave, what's happening? Argentina. I haven't seen Argentina in a while. We always beat you guys in rugby. That's me speaking from my South African roots. I'm in Los Angeles, but we play rugby. Mary Rose from the Philippines. Okay, so keep them coming in. We keep this pretty engaging. If you have questions, put them into the comments. We will answer them live during the webinar. We'll have some back and forth with the speakers. And let's take a quick second here to introduce the panel that we have today. And if you can tell us, who you are, the name of your agency, where you're based, and what you're going to talk about today, let's do that as a start. So we'll start with Tyler. Tyler, let us know what's going on.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, John. Excited to be part of this panel here. So I am the CEO and founder of TripleLine, and we're a full-service Amazon agency based in Southern California, so not far from where you're currently at, John. And today I'm excited. I'm going to be talking about profit first growth. So this is all about how to unlock the levers that are going to help you scale more profitably in the channel.
Nice. Yeah, always important as we start heading into the season that makes us anxiety riddled and panic, but at the same time have massive reward, which is Q4. So it's coming up. I think it's under 11 weeks, and we're there. So profit is great. Hey, what's up, Nesta, Brazil? All right. Max, Zubar, good to see you guys. All right, let's move over to Ryan.
Thanks, John. Yeah, I'm Ryan Garrow with Logical Position. They bought my company about 10 years ago. I've been stayed on as Director of Strategy and Partnerships. And today I'm going to be talking about how to grow Amazon using off Amazon strategies. There's a lot of things you can push.
Genius. Yeah. Needed. Where are you based, Ryan?
Oh, sorry. Based just outside Portland, Oregon, where it's actually sunny like California today. There's no rain in the forecast. So
all right, good.
Nice.
Awesome. And then Phil.
I'm Phil Masiello. I'm the founder of CrunchGrowth Revenue Acceleration Agency. I started selling on Amazon or building brands on Amazon in 2006 for myself, my own brands in skincare, beauty, and personal care. And then I founded the agency about 12 years ago. And we're focused on Amazon, off Amazon. We're a total brand building agency, full service. And we have a strong background in television marketing, whether it's on TV shopping or direct response television. And so we've taken that knowledge and translated into using Fire TV ads to effectively scale. And that's what I'm going to talk about today, because it's not as used as people should be using it. And the costs have come down so dramatically on getting your products onto Fire TV. And it's really an unsung hero for getting away from your competition. And Maximilian, thanks for the comment. I'm not dancing. I'm always on a standing desk. So I do shift from side to side, but I'm not dancing, buddy.
Yeah, cool. I'm really curious to hear more about that. When everyone says TV ads or everyone thinks, you have to be earning, paying serious money and being in a certain position in your business. So I think that'll be good in part of your presentation, is like unpacking a little bit of like, who's this suitable for, like what kind of size of business. And I think that'll be super interesting. Okay, cool. And then I'll go first. And what I'm going to be talking about, is this moment that we're tracking and that we're seeing happen in real time on Amazon, which is this shift from, the A9 algorithm in its traditional sense of, being very keyword focused and intent based for its algorithm and for its ranking, and the shift that is happening towards ultimately Cosmo and Rufus, which is much more semantic. It's a much more intelligent AI system, and how it maps your specific product to ensure that you have visibility across the algorithm. And I'm going to dive in specifically around Cosmo and talk about Cosmo mapping, which I think will be interesting to you guys. And then, of course, with every speaker here, we'll have an option to connect with everyone here. So if something really resonates with you, with everyone or with an individual, reach out and connect there, and let's go from there. So let's jump into it. Again, if you guys have any questions, put it in the chat. I'll go first for 10 minutes. I will be timing that so that we can keep on track, and then we'll open it up for questions as we go. So let me get my timer going here, and I'm going to get going. So I'm going to share my screen over here, and if you guys can just let me know that you see it, I'd appreciate it. Let's go. Yeah. All right. Can you guys see my screen?
See it? Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Some good looking faces there. That's good. All right. Okay, guys. So, if anybody knows or doesn't know ZonGuru, we have many tools, but I think our specific secret sauce is around understanding Amazon's algorithm, unpacking that black box of how to really truly rank for it, and providing you tools to help you get visibility for the algorithm, but also for human conversion, and then the tracking around that, right? So the SEO of your product listings, which is your heartbeat of your listing outside of your product, that is where we are most helpful for you. We've had many firsts in the space, specifically around the first to integrate with ChatGPT, the first to be Cosmo, Rufus optimized, and many more contextual SEO, a bunch of things. So check us out. But I'm going to be talking specifically around this unpopular opinion, right? Which is I like to do these of late, but if right now you're hesitating to fix your listings for Cosmo, you've already lost Q4, and that is it's not a threat. It's becoming real, right? And I believe that as we get into Q4, there's going to be more and more importance on ensuring that you are mapped for the latest in the Amazon algorithm. Amazon is traditionally behind where other AI platforms or other technologies are. It's just how it's been. But there is a race here, and they have to make sure that they are giving the right kind of AI user experience to customers, just like you get on ChatGPT, Perplexity, because as those shopping layers come in there, the go-to still needs to be Amazon, right? So they have to move pretty quick. So we're testing constantly, and you need to be mapping and ensuring your listings are mapped right now, so that you are ready for Q4. And that is, just to be clear, a combination between still keyword intent heaviness, right? I think there is a very strong sense of how you have to map to the algorithm along the traditional lines of A9, which is ensuring that there's keyword mapping, right? Which is typically broad match, definitely not keyword stuffing. And then the combination of how do you map your listings for a quality score against Cosmo, and then obviously the answer engine, which is the Rufus part, which is mapping it on that side. So there's a combination of those that you need to do right now to make sure that you're fully optimized as you get into Q4. People ask me, what is Rufus? What is Cosmo? Some of the easiest ways to explain that is like this idea of an answer engine optimization, or an answer engine, right? You guys, everyone here listening is engaging with ChatGPT, with Google. You're getting the summaries at the top, right? I've got I've had a knee replacement. I need a brace. Hey, what is the best brace that I should be, putting in? That you can type into Google. You're going to get summarized answers. You get the same on Amazon, right? If you engage with Rufus, it's giving you recommendations and options based on what you're typing in there. And we need to make sure that our listing is mapped in the right way so that you are visible for that answer engine on that side. And then on the Cosmo side, that if people are typing in keywords, it's mapping you intelligently to those keywords so that you have most visibility, right? And there's key things to do there. So I think what I highlighted at the bottom here is like, if your listing doesn't sound like an answer, you don't get seen, right? And so it's the way of moving from like an ingredient, list, right, into something that is much more product benefits, experience mapping, right? And I'm going to show you what that looks like. Anybody listening here, you're going to get a copy of this. I'll give you a call to action at the end. If you email that, you will get this PDF back. It details all the schematic ways that you have to update your listing to make sure you map intelligently. And I want to just dive into the Cosmo piece of it, right? Which is, at the end of the day, it's not just about the product attributes. We have to explain why to people, right? So it keeps baby's feet warm. It's for, it's when you attend a wedding, right? So we have to add the whys to the features, right? And, it's not just about the product specs. It's about the intent behind it. And I want to make sure that it's very clear that this is not just optional anymore. You need to do these on your listings. We're seeing drop in old style listings, right? So obviously Amazon has to be careful how it shifts and to make sure that it's making money. At the end of the day, it's all about Amazon making money, right? So it's got to be careful about what it's doing. But at the end of the day, we're starting to see that, right? It needs to shift to the new way, right? So, think about what the problem, what problem is the buyer solving? What is it doing? Who are they, right? These are all important things. And I'm going to just show you how this maps out in a second. So let's just go to that. Okay, so first three points. So when you're doing it, what do you need to do from a Cosmo perspective? You have to map to buyer intent, right? And then I'm going to talk about the Cosmo knowledge triples. You need to support both search by and co-buy behavior. And then you need to use Cosmo relation and tail types, right? Sounds like gibberish right now, I'm sure, to most people here, but I'll show you what this looks like. And if you do it in this way, you're gonna appear, right? So this is the mapping, right? This is a document from Amazon. It is a detailed technical document around how it maps for Cosmo. And it's really an understanding from the intelligent AI model of Cosmo and how to read your content, and it maps it, right? So it's going to read your content, map it to these, and if you check against all of these, okay, great, then it has the intelligence to go, okay, well, let's map that to a semantic list of keywords, synonyms, everything else, and then therefore we know that you are a quality score against all of these intent-based searches, Rufus questions, etc., and therefore you're going to get more visibility. And it's a combination between this and obviously, having a broad matching aspect to your title, bullets, descriptions, back-end terms, right? There's still a mix of those, so you have to have a mix on both sides. But what I'm trying to recommend is what we recommend is a broad matching on your most relevant terms, title, bullets, etc. AI is very good at making sure that you have a broad match and it sounds natural in his language, and then make sure that you have this mapping in place as an overlay, and then obviously ensure that you're talking about features paired with benefits, right? More natural language, brand, etc. needs to be included as well, and that's how you write your copy. So I'm just going to show you an example. This is like a burger press. It's this is the current copy I just pulled this off a listing literally yesterday. So they have high quality stainless steel, reduced cooking time, smooth and flat surface, get perfect hamburger, right? Great gift choice, right? This is how they structured it. Everyone will nod their heads like, this is how we do listings in the past, right? That's how we do it. And some of this is really important, again, for that kind of semantic broad match keyword side.
Sure.
So we took that, just dropped it into some of our backend. You're seeing some of our backend intelligence here. It's like, hey, great, like mapped against that Cosmo mapping. Yes, some of it's missing, right? Gives it a score. And then it starts to then show some improvements. How should it be improved for Cosmo? This is a piece of the benefits, right? But it's like stuff like perfect smash every time, right? Creates evenly flattened, etc. Fast, healthy cooking, versatile for any surface, right? It can be flat tops, etc. Ideal for bacon, what type of products, scenarios, loved by grills and home chefs, etc. Right? So again, you saw a lot of that content that I just showed you, which is really feature focused. Some of these aspects need to be mapped in there, and then based on that, then you have an overall mapping both for keyword intent and for Cosmo, and therefore you're starting to get the most visibility, and you're kind of making sure that you're scoring for wherever that line is in the sand between A9 and where things are going, right? And this is critical to do right now. We do it all on our side, inside of our technology. Just to end this, we've got a pretty cool product that's coming out, and it's in a beta launch. We're opening this up, I think it's going to be next week. We're opening up for the first 100 customers only, to really run this through before we launch it to everyone. And we're focused on getting this live so that people can do this before Q4, because we are so passionate about what's happening in this great shift from where it's been to where it needs to be. and certainly Q4, as I said with that unpopular question, if you're not optimized, you're going to lose traffic to your competitors, right? So you've got to make sure that you have that mapping. How important that mapping is at the end of the day, and how much Amazon shifts, Amazon will know. But the point is you can map for both, right? Keyword intent in the right natural language way, as well as Cosmo and Rufus. We have that all built into our technology. We're constantly testing that. So we'll actually, in this beta, we're going to not just give you the technology, but we're actually going to do it for you. So it's pretty simple. You submit your ASIN, and then you're going to get the final listing back, right, based on your current listing. So it's an enhancement to your current listing. If you have a listing and you want it to be enhanced and mapped for Cosmo and Rufus, and make sure that you have the best, we'll do it actually for you, which is pretty cool. So it's our technology that we're going to run on it. It's our human team. And I think this is always a critical piece. We talk about technology with a heart, right? And everyone's like so intent on AI, and AI is important, but you have to have the QA expertise around that to make sure it happens. We give you before and after scores and the reasons why it's improved. And then we'll give that to all we'll give you all the copy, format that you can upload. And also we're going to give you image and EBC recommendations and copy. So not only the copy side of it, but the actual images, we'll be recommending exactly what that narrative should be in your images, some ideas around what those images should be. And then importantly, the copy that goes over it and any alt text, etc., that needs to be in that, and the EBC. So everything you need to make sure that you optimize fully for the latest in the algorithm, we're giving to you. And it's the other cool part is it's not going to be a subscription. So this is a service that we're offering. It's per ASIN. You just pay per an ASIN, money back guarantee, and we'll literally do it for you. So I've given you an insight into the foreshadow of what it is. If anybody wants this, literally email right now, support@zonguru.com, and just put the subject line, yes, access to Cosmo listing service. We will then take that and we'll put you in as part of the first beta. And then as soon as we are ready to offer that service to you, which it should be in about a week, we'll send you an email, and then you can literally click on that and then follow the process. And then it literally there is some input that's needed on your side, but you'll put in some inputs, and then we will give your listings back to you, and it will be ready and fully optimized for where it needs to be in Q4. So again, email support@zonguru.com. Yes, access to Cosmo listing service. Make sure you put that in. My team on the support side is ready for that email. They will then take it and they will put it into the list. If you're in the first 100, you'll get access. If not, then you'll wait for the second batch. But we're going to do the first 100 probably starting next week. It's pretty cool. It's fascinating to see how listings are being optimized and how much better they sound just from a human conversion perspective. And also, when you pair that with the images, what that looks like. So I'm pretty excited to offer that to you guys. So get in there, just email support@zonguru.com. Yes, access to Cosmo. That's it from me, guys. We're going to hand over to Tyler in a second, but I'd be curious to just hear any opinions on what I just talked about. Anybody?
Yeah, you weren't kidding, John, when you said that this is a timely topic. Not only timely for Q4, but there are two data points that came to mind as you were talking. One is on Amazon's last earnings report. They mentioned investment in AI over 20 times, which was more than double they've ever mentioned it before. And additionally, just I think it was a couple months ago, Amazon announced one of their biggest investments ever in their 30-year history in AI data centers to support all of their AI tools coming out. A bigger investment than acquiring Ring, bigger investment than acquiring MGM Studios. And I think that this isn't hype, right? This is the future. And yes, A9 and the fundamentals are still important, but I can't agree with you more that you need to be on top of Cosmo optimization. So I think, you went over it quickly, but that schematic guide on what to do to optimize, because frankly, a lot of brands I talk to are in that same boat. They're like, okay, I get that this is important, but how do I actually implement it? So the tools that you're talking about and giving away are super timely.
Yeah, 100%. And it's just having this intelligence that can at least tell you whether it's mapped in the correct way, and then providing you with that baseline of how it should sound, I think is so critical. And what you said is important, and I kind of mentioned it in the talk, but we all know Amazon, as technology forward as the company is, they're always behind everyone else, right? I mean, you can just look at Seller Central, you can look at PPC, it's like 10 years behind Google, you know, but the point is like, you know, Amazon owns the shopping space right now, right? As an intent base, but like the AI platforms are coming, right? Perplexity is going to have a shopping layer, you know, ChatGPT, all of these things are going to start to evolve that. There's recommendations, but they're going to potentially start buying on that. And if Amazon can't hold on to that experience of being AI forward in its approach and the recommendations and having that engaging conversation, they might lose that experience to other platforms, right? So they've got to move fast. And part of that fast end user experience has to be that they have the right algorithmic setup in the background so they can deliver on it, right? And when people engage with Rufus right now, they're like, oh, it's crap, right? And yeah, it is kind of crappy right now, but it's going to move fast. And if they don't move fast, they're going to be left behind with other platforms. So you guys have to be ready, and you know, you have to give all of their intelligence the best way to ensure that you're visible. And this is an important piece. So yeah, pretty cool. Good. Anything else? Did you, Phil?
I have one quick thing that I don't know if you guys noticed, but about I think it was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, Amazon stopped spending money on Google shopping ads. They cut it off completely. And the effect was that if you're advertising on Google, your cost per click went down, your traffic to a website went down, but conversion, went up, but the conversion rate went down, which showed that everybody was looking at it, and then they went back to Amazon without Amazon spending money on shopping ads. And the point about what you're talking about with mapping, that is becoming the fundamental today when you're building a product page, because you have to optimize for AI, because whether it's on Amazon or off Amazon, it's going to permeate, because search is going to permeate and AI search is going to permeate. So it's more important than ever to be focused on semantic and intent.
100%. Yeah. And we also see that as like, if we're mapped right on Amazon, you're going to start to be visible in these other engines that are looking for recommendations and products, right? So not only are you visible on Amazon, but you're going to be visible for these other engines, and that's a critical piece. So yeah, you know, there's a big power play, I'm sure, between Amazon and all these other platforms, and what's happening behind the scenes, you know, what kind of deals. It's going to be interesting for sure. Good. Okay. Well, let's hand over to Tyler. Jump in. I see a couple of questions coming here. You know, Max, you asked about the price. You know, the price is going to be something that you guys are definitely, going to be willing to pay. Just the ROI that you get on it. Just think about optimizing your listing and the ROI you get. I'm not going to say right now because we're 90% there, but we have a couple of things before we make sure that it's absolutely right. I'd be curious, Max. What did you pay per ASIN? Drop it in the chat there, or anyone else. What do you pay per ASIN? I'd be curious to hear. Tyler, let's do it, man. What's happening?
All right, let me pull up my slides here.
Oh, I think I'll stop sharing. Yeah, so you go for it.
Okay. All right, give me a thumbs up or let me know, someone on the panel, if you can see the slides.
Yeah, we're good.
Awesome. Well, I'm super excited. What I consider to be also a very important topic, and now more than ever, for brand selling on Amazon. So I'm going to jump into it, and a bit of a trigger warning here. You might have a knee-jerk reaction to this question. Make sure I can control my slides. How many of you can relate to this? Amazon growth feels like progress until you check your margins. So I've heard just countless frustration this year, talking to brands, talking to founders, operators, mentioning the following: ad costs keep climbing on Amazon. Every year gets more competitive. CPCs are going up. FBA and fee changes being announced or introduced by Amazon continue to squeeze more every year. And while there's no shortage of hacks that you can find online, it can feel like playing whack-a-mole, especially if, they tie up investment or resources to chase after, sometimes to just end up as a dud or not to work for your business. So a bit about me, real quick. I was a leader at Amazon for 7 years. So I came from inside the Amazon machine. Early on, I launched the grocery and gourmet category on Amazon. My last role was as the head of the Amazon Marketplace for Amazon Canada. Since then, I founded TripleLine, and we focus on profitably growing brands in the CPG and household space. And proud that we have unlocked 10 plus points of margin for over 50 7 and 8 figure brands. So what I'm going to share here is really the fundamental way that we think about profitably scaling. And I hope that it's something that you can adapt and take away and get value from in your business today. So in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to deliver the following: one framework that is super powerful for better understanding your profitability and focusing on the right levers. One actionable tactic that we'll jump into. Of course, there are, again, 1,000 tactics, but this is one that's super timely and killer. We just discovered it a few weeks ago, and it's something you can easily implement today. And then I'll leave you with 5 free bonuses at the end that you can use later. So take a look at this framework. Amazon profitability sits at the center here. So this is the Amazon profitability in your business. And around it are the 10 levers that you can pull. So we have the price of your product, we have your cost of goods sold, your Amazon selling fee, your FBA fees, your ad costs, other marketing costs, units per order, repeat purchase rate, your product sales mix, and your cash management. That's it. These are the 10 dials, you could call it, on your control board. So every single tactic you try is just turning one of these dials, whether you realize it or not. So to make sense of these 10 levers, you can group them into 3 simple buckets. In blue, we have these levers here that are all about margin. So your price minus your cost of goods sold, minus your Amazon fees, minus your FBA fees gives you that margin at the end of the day from a sale. These are the fundamentals. So if you move each of or any of these levers, your gross margins are either going to go up or down. Next, we have these green levers, and these are about customers. So how much it costs to acquire them and how much you get over their lifetime. So these are your ad costs, your other marketing costs, your units per order, and your repeat purchase rate. The thing here is, if you get these right, your customer acquisition will get cheaper and your lifetime value will grow. And then finally, we've got these orange levers, and these are really, I like to think of as the zoomed out view. So, your product sales mix and how you manage your cash in your business, they don't just impact your profit today. They really determine whether you have the fuel and funds to continue growing on the platform. So that is the formula here, or the framework. But here's the shift. Instead of thinking about all of the hundreds or thousands of tactics out there as random hacks, start to ask which of these 10 levers each one actually moves. So when you look at it this way, you can see exactly why a strategy may work for your specific business and how it might show up on your P&L. And really where you should put your focus. So I like to think of the Amazon profitability here at the center like a flywheel, and you want to get this flywheel spinning as quickly as you can by pulling on these levers. But the reality is that not each of these levers is going to be of equal importance or opportunity in your specific business today. So you can think of this as the idea of a lever. If you have a rusty lug nut that you're trying to loosen, a short lever or short wrench is going to mean a lot of effort and work to get that turned. If you have a really long wrench, you're going to be able to turn that much easier. So even though this diagram or this framework here shows each of the 10 in this wheel, the reality is that depending on your current Amazon business stage, the catalog makeup or mix that you have, and your relative performance versus category benchmarks are really going to dictate which of these levers today give you the easiest or biggest opportunity to improve your profitability. And that's going to be different today versus next year. So your business today might look something like this, where you can see some levers have really long wrenches or leverage and are going to make it a lot easier to turn that profitability, and others are going to provide a lot smaller or lower opportunity and smaller results on your business. So it might look like this, or it might look like this, or honestly, there are probably infinite options. This is something that, when I sit down with a founder or a brand, we go through a blueprint session and we go really deep in understanding their business to clearly identify where those levers are, they're going to give them the best results in their business today. So let's say that, you've done that and this is representative of your business today, and you really want to focus on the customer, improving the customer lifetime value and your acquisition cost side of the equation. And so you can see here that your units per order and your ad costs are two of the most promising levers that you have to pull. So I'm going to share, that might represent some of you on the call. So I'm going to share a tactic that has been super powerful in moving these levers. So I like to call this the brand barricade. Now, this is a tactic that one of the senior brand managers on our team discovered a couple months ago, and we were just blown away by how well it worked, and have since started scaling it out to other brands. They've also seen success. I have not seen anybody using this yet, so this is very timely. I think there's a first mover advantage here. Specifically, as I mentioned, the levers here are ad costs and units per order, so it's going to help if those are the opportunities in your business. And this is going to make sense if you have healthy branded search. So roughly, if you have over 1,000 searches per month for your branded terms on Amazon. So if you're just launching your Amazon business today, this probably isn't going to move the needle much for you. Come back to it in the future. But if you do have people searching for your brand and you know that you have good branded search, then this is probably going to be super powerful for your business. And then finally, this is going to be most powerful if you have a lot of competition for your branded terms. So if you're finding that you can pull back and go super light on, on your branded or defensive ads, and no competitors are coming in and bidding on you, then it's probably not going to be that meaningful. But if you find that competitors are trying to take traffic and steal share from your branded terms and customers, then this is a tactic that's going to work really well. So what is the brand barricade? This tactic uses bundles and really super cheap ads, sponsored product ads, to lock down your branded search results. And you want to do this because it's going to protect your branded impression share and also keep competitors from stealing that traffic, as I mentioned, while at the same time, it's also going to drive up your units per order, which we know is very healthy for your customer lifetime value. And the way that you're going to do this is by mass creating virtual bundles, which are quick and easy and free to create. And then running, as I mentioned, super low bid. I would start well below Amazon's recommended bids. You could start as low as 10 cents and test from there. And really the goal is to fill up your branded search results page. So let me give you a quick example of this. This is a brand, Brodo Bone Broth, gets over 5,000 searches for their brand name a month on Amazon, and they only have 3 parent ASINs. So historically have had very little presence on their own branded search for that reason. But as you can see here, we created a whole bunch of these virtual bundles, not pretty for this test, but just put a bunch of these together, combining the different products they already sell on Amazon to just inundate their search results page. And you can see these are sponsored product ads here. There are quite a few sponsored product ads. You can also notice that a lot of these price points are $100, sometimes even over $100, $129 here. And so that really helps the any click or purchase they get actually results in a very high return on ad spend. So you can see here in the search results page, after creating all of these virtual bundles and then having them show up obviously organically, but also improving that organic visibility as well as claiming all those sponsored product placements, they're really able to take almost all of the spots on their page 1 of search results for their brand term and leave very few placements for any competitors. So what are the numbers? What did this do for them? Well, before, their branded impression share was 6%. So the number of impressions that their brand had on their own branded search results page. After running this, as you're probably not surprised seeing that quick screen video, that increased 9-fold to 54%. Their branded purchase share went from 82% to 93%. That's an extra 10, 11 points of additional sales that they got. Total monthly spend, this is going to shock some of you, $29. And that's because these sponsored product ads convert so well on these high price point branded products that are already, on your branded search pages. So this is a very cheap tactic if you use it right. Their added weekly impressions, so incremental impressions that they got just from the sponsored product ads was over 20,000 per week. And the return on ad spend was a 21.5. So again, I'm not here to say, hey, just go crazy and run a ton of defensive or branded ads. But this is one of those scenarios where it's not going to eat up your ad budget if you do it right. And because, again, the bundling together creates a much higher price point at that aggregate bundle, and the PPC, CPC, the cost per click should be very, very low. That huge delta creates a very high return on ad spend. So if you have decent branded search, this may be a specific tactic that works really well for you, and you can go implement it in probably 30 minutes and test it today for yourself. Now, that's obviously just one of many, many tactics. And the important thing here is not starting by throwing spaghetti at the wall and trying every tactic you hear about, but starting with that framework that we worked through of first understanding where those highest potential levers are in your business to move your profitability. And then once you know which of those 10 profit levers are key for you today, then search out and identify strong, proven tactics that are going to move that specific lever. So I mentioned that I'd have 5 free bonuses here at the end. We've built up a vault of over 100 proven tactics, and you can go to this website, this page here, triplelinebrands.com/roadmap, and just enter 5 questions in a form that will tell a little bit about what stage your business is currently at. And then we've built an AI agent that will hand select 5 of the tactics from our vault that are most relevant to your business today. So you can just focus on what's going to have the highest leverage. And it's going to provide you all the step-by-step instructions for how to implement that in your business. So this should be live now. You can go to the website and we'll have it up for at least the next 48 hours. So thank you. And let me know if you guys have any comments or thoughts.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So just a reminder, anybody there listening, put your comments there. If you have questions, now's the time to put them in there. Tyler can answer. Yeah, I thought that was amazing. I think the most important thing there is like understanding the unique strategy for that unique portfolio of products, right? And within a brand, there's obviously some that are performing better, some that might not be, some that might have more competition, less competition. But based on, the insight around like how is that brand performing in context to its competition is what's critical. So you implement the right strategy, and that you showed very clearly there that like, yeah, they have a lot of brand terms, but there's a lot of competition on their brand terms. So therefore, how do you defend, right? And that was, those numbers that you showed were insane. I think any brand that can have that would be great. But there might be some brands that it doesn't work for. And like we have a strategy on our side which has worked for some brands where they have very strong branded search, but they don't have that much competition. So we actually have the ability to have organic rank as a if then logic into your PPC bidding position. So if you have high organic rank on on certain terms or brand terms, therefore don't bid high, right? Bid middle of the page low, and that's very profitable. But that's a different use case to the one that you showed, where obviously on branded terms they have a lot of competition. So that was an amazing strategy. So yeah, thank you for that. Good. Any other comments there from Ryan, Phil?
I love it. I love taking up real estate whenever you can. I think that's a really cool strategy. I did it years ago, kind of small, and I didn't think about expanding virtual bundles like that. I think it's a great idea.
Yes, very good idea.
It's also timely because historically you couldn't run sponsored product ads on virtual bundles. You had to have an actual ASIN. Amazon has quietly just rolled that out recently more broadly. So again, I think it's still a first mover advantage tactic until everyone starts inundating it. So
yeah,
nice. Okay, Ryan, you're up, man. Let's hear what's going on.
I'm sharing. Don't show those tips again.
Keep the questions coming, guys. That'll be great. Yeah. And Gary, you win the prize for asking the question. Is there a replay link for this? Yes, there will be a replay link. Everyone will get it, and there'll be some follow-ups on this as well. So, Ryan, go for it. We see your screen.
All right. Sounds good. All right. I'm going to go fast because we are limited on time and I've got lots of things to say. So acquired by Logical Position almost a decade ago, stayed with them. I've got lots of kids because I'm crazy, and exited an Amazon brand. We built it to 7 figures. I was the first Amazon paid client at LP because of they needed somebody to be the guinea pig. And I was like, sweet, I'll do it. We've got 7,000 clients. We focus just on ads and traffic. You name it, we do it. We're Google's largest e-com agency in the Americas, Microsoft's largest in the world. Do a lot of Amazon ads. So quickly, whoa, this came out weird. We see the problem on Amazon. Growth is becoming more and more difficult. When I launched in 2019, it was relatively easy to use ads and brute force yourself into 7 figures. That's much more difficult now. Amazon was driving a disgusting amount of traffic from Google, and it was an arbitrage game for them. And there's a lot of theories around why they pulled out. A lot of it had to do with data. And I think spending 9 figures to your biggest competitor is probably not their favorite thing to do. So Google's numbers are going to get hit. I'm sure that there's some things going around with Google's $20 billion that goes to Apple every year going somewhere. And that's probably going to some of the other areas, but we'll see. So growth on Amazon by using off Amazon strategies. Everybody's probably spending on PPC on Amazon. You probably should be. The things I'll talk through don't necessarily make sense for everybody because every brand's going to be somewhat nuanced, but you should at least consider them. And so setting the table, this is the general plan I use to talk about where a company should be spending their money and how they should be growing and investing or testing, if you will, in different areas. And then this is the general funnel you have to be considerate of. Like, you don't want to jump into, advertising on YouTube if you haven't done anything else in the funnel, or you don't want to go directly to all the TV out there if you're not capturing some of that. You don't want to create demand that your competitors then get to take advantage of. So again, I'm going to breeze through this because you can go back and look at it if you want, but you generally build from the bottom up. So you need to focus on traffic when Amazon is there. A lot of you may need to look at getting some tracking or MMM involved if you really want to scale this. When you're starting small, you're going to be using some of your gut when you start spending off Amazon or doing techniques to drive Amazon traffic for sales. And if you're brand registered, you should get some of that and tag the UTM parameters because Amazon still accepts those. But I'm going to tell most of you need to have a Google and Bing strategy. Most brands ignore Bing because it's frustrating to work on, but very low competition because most of my competitive agencies tell clients that it doesn't work because it's not easy to manage. But you should do it. It's not complicated. There's actually a button on Microsoft Ads to say, do you want to suck in your Google Ads account? And you say yes, and it will connect to Google and pull that build in. So it's very, very simple to get up and running there. Don't ignore it. I would have a D2C site 100% of the time. I know Phil's company builds Shopify sites. We don't build them. Go to Phil. He can build a great site. It's easy to do. You can even use a template just to get off the ground. You can fulfill using multi-channel fulfillment on Amazon if all your inventory is there. Again, it's not complicated. Just start it, and it won't be perfect the first time out. Nothing I do is perfect. I kind of ready, fire, aim. Like, I just want to be in motion because then you can direct the results once you're moving. And I also pay attention to your product mix. Like, I personally don't give Amazon all my products. I usually want the hero products that lead the way for my brand, and then my D2C website will have all the other products because I still want to own the customer when I can. When they buy on Amazon, it's still an Amazon customer. Amazon's going to keep it an Amazon customer. And some of your clients will only buy on Amazon, which is fine. But when they can buy on the rest of my site, the other products I have, I want it there. Again, we talked about working the bottom of the funnel up. Generally, that's brand search shopping. Then you move to non-brand and YouTube potentially there. Looks like I might be going in and out. Sorry about that. But Amazon traffic from Google. So I sold this from Amazon years ago because they were probably the best at click arbitrage. And I found this out by testing it myself, where you could get a click on Google for about 30 cents. The minimum click set on Amazon was about $1 for the same term on Amazon. And Amazon had text ads. So I was like, that's interesting. They're taking that Google traffic that I know really well. And then I get to pay a higher CPC on Amazon. That's, for me, not fun. You can hijack that Amazon URL, and you can run your money on an Amazon URL for a non-brand term, for a brand term. And I do this generally for sales velocity. So Amazon's SEO rankings, A lot of it is based on sales velocity. If you're not selling as much as somebody else, Amazon's not going to put you up there. They make more money. Amazon's in the money game, not on the SEO game and giving you free traffic because they like your SEO. So be aware of that. And so I use Google traffic to target keywords that I want to rank higher for on Amazon. And so I picked non-brand terms, bought them on Google, sent them to my product pages, sent them to my store pages, measure the conversion rate increase using the brand registry. And then also be aware of your non-brand terms on Google. Most brands are over-indexing and trying to get profit out of it when it's a non-brand term new customer. So I just always put that there. Don't be afraid to break even in getting a new customer. Don't sleep on TikTok. Amazon and TikTok are for sure in bed together. And I don't know who's going to buy TikTok or if that's even going to happen. But if Amazon wasn't worried about monopolies, they would 100% be there. But remember the TikTok pants. That's my best easy example. You can just Google, or Bing if you Bing. My parents Bing instead of Google. TikTok pants. Like, it's there. It blew up. And this woman just going crazy on TikTok pants. That is happening even more now. It does take time and money to get influencers. It's not easy to get TikTok influencers, but they're there. You have to nurture them and invest that time. They do require money if they're big. There's even some things, if you spend enough money on it, TikTok, they'll give you UGC content from influencers for free. Some of it's hot garbage, but I have a friend in the gambling space that's been leveraging TikTok. He gets embarrassingly bad TikTok UGC for free. And we're like, that's so bad. You should put some money behind it. And it actually works. It's fascinating what can work on TikTok. Test it. Don't be afraid there. A lot of Amazon brands are worried about retail. I personally love retail. I use Fair. I think it's easy to use. It's profit marketing. If somebody buys my product at wholesale cost and is going to put it in their store and get me eyeballs, phenomenal. I'm not going to take returns from Fair. If they don't sell it, that's their fault. And Fair's got pretty good protections in there. I do limit SKUs, kind of like Amazon. I don't want to give all of my SKUs to a retailer. I want them to prove themselves, get some sales going. But I love it there. I also had a contract salesperson calling retailers, sending them to Fair, because Fair at that time had some great deals about sending my own retailers to Fair to sign up. But I like finding one that already has a job. I want this to be an add-on. I want to be cheap. I like testing and measuring, but I also don't like spending my own money to test and measure a lot if I don't have to. So you're going to be a contractor for me. If you have a job grade, it's going to be easier. Retail showrooming is undervalued by a lot of Amazon brands I talk to. People go into stores, find products, they showroom it. Like, hey, what's this cost on Amazon? Are there more products? Is there a better mix of this? Is there a better product on Amazon? A lot of times Amazon's going to be cheaper. A lot of small retailers buying on Fair want to mark up because they need the margin. So they were selling my product at 20, whereas I had it on Amazon at 17. And so they would go buy it on Amazon. It was FBA. They could get it tomorrow, maybe 2 days at the longest. It was really easy to start scaling that and seeing where this Amazon sales were coming from based on retailers. So don't be afraid of it. I think retail can be a great place for a lot of Amazon brands to grow their Amazon sales because people do find out there are opportunities there. D2C, get your tech stack dialed. Like, don't put up a Shopify site, get it there. But there's so many easy things to do on Shopify. The tech ecosystem and the developers there are phenomenal. There are so many apps, probably too many, but there's a lot of really good ones out there that can help. Recover cards with peer-to-peer messaging. Texas is becoming an interesting one there, but you can manually text people. And if you have the right compliance, Texas still works. PDP pages, optimization tests. Like, you need breadcrumbs. Not all Shopify templates have breadcrumbs, and they're not hard to put on there, but you need them there because most people that come to your product pages from Google Shopping will go to another product and buy something else. So breadcrumbs allow that to happen. Buy with Prime. That is the simplest thing that so many brands aren't utilizing. It's very easy to get it set up now. It used to be hot garbage, and I had problems with that team, but they've made a lot of developments in the last year that I do like them now. They have shared cart, cool stuff, and they do open up some cool opportunities in the Amazon ad space when you use Buy with Prime. Also, don't worry. You can also do cool quick tests with hidden pages. There's nothing that says you can't take the same product, create another product page that's not navigatable to, but you can navigate off of, and you can run ads to it and decide, does it make sense? If it's a Buy with Prime only and I don't know if it's going to work, run ads to it and see. And then if they get there and they want to go somewhere else, it's easy to do. Most people don't realize how simple it is to duplicate your products and set it up. I even test directing directly to Amazon from my site. It's not hard. You can do it easy. Sales velocity, conversion rate, that's how you test to make sure if it makes sense for you. Email your customers on this D2C site. Give them Amazon coupons. Again, you're trying to get velocity so you can rank higher organically on Amazon. You're willing to give up some margin to do that on your direct-to-consumer. Customers already like you, and give them an option to go subscribe on Amazon. Continue building that flywheel. There. Phil, I hope I gave you enough time. But if you want a growth strategy session with me, just email me, ask, tell me you're on the ZonGuru thing. I'll sit down with you for a half hour. We'll talk strop. I think it's fun. I just enjoy helping brands grow. Whether you work with us or not, that's a total aside, but let's have some fun.
That was great. That was great.
Yeah. What you got any comment there, Phil?
I love exactly what he was saying. We see the same thing. One of the reasons we spend so much time doing video is because we spend so much time on TikTok and Reels and things with promoting brands and pushing brands, even for ourselves. And you see the power of video. And Ryan's 100% right. When you do things correctly on TikTok, there's a direct correlation to your sales on Amazon. But if you're doing it organically and you're using UGC, using micro influencers, you're not spending the kind of money you are on ads. I love exactly what he was talking about. I think that's a great strategy for growth, both on Amazon and off Amazon.
Yeah, we have a really strong partner in the TikTok space. I think it's such a great opportunity. It is obviously getting more and more competitive, not only from brands being there, but also the compelling offers that you have for affiliates, right? So there's cold starts and there's strategies that are coming out. Uptick is our partner, and anybody there can find them and connect. I think Ryan, you covered some awesome stuff, and at a high level, all of these businesses need to be at a place where one, they can be bigger than Amazon, which is critical, but also have the operational ability to do it, right? So some of the things you mentioned there, like, hey, doing retail through Fair, where they just literally buying our stuff wholesale, great, right? So like, letting them take on the responsibility of handling that channel, those are already smart plays where you can get a lot more visibility. And then I think the main thing there is like, yeah, you're selling more, but there's any channel that you're on, like TikTok is a prime example. If you're there's a halo effect that happens where people see you there, but then they buy on Amazon, right? Because that's their platform of choice. So understanding that there's going to be a halo effect from all of these channels that's going to improve your Amazon business is critical. I saw that question from Gary. You're saying, hey, you just advertise Amazon to your D2C, and are there any other tactics to grow, outside of just advertising? I mean, obviously that was before Ryan got into a bunch there that were solving that problem. But I would say, buy with Prime or advertising. If you have the ability to throttle that on your D2C website, that to me is like the best approach, because there's going to be some times where you want all the traffic to be directed to D2C, where you can convert there and you make your own margins, going back to what Tyler's saying about margins. But there's going to be some times where it might make sense to say, hey, activate my buy with Prime, get that traffic and conversions over to Amazon, or even activate a redirect or activate my Google ads that go directly to my relevant Amazon pages, right? Because you want more traffic and conversions there, because ultimately that spikes the algorithm. You're getting more traffic conversions, and therefore you get better ranking, and you can kind of help that business. So the beauty of being omni-channel is that you can strategically use a channel in the right way to ensure that your business is being helped by those other channels when appropriate. Whether you need Amazon to be helped or the other way around is how you should look at it, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, and you avoid aging inventory. Like if you've got old inventory, you don't want to pay warehouse fees. Those are the worst. And so just blow it off your site by, even just coupons. Email coupons are great for that. Buy with Prime's good for that.
Good. Okay. Well, keep the questions coming, guys. Let's get Phil going there. What you got? And let's close it up. At the end of this, guys, you remember all the offers are being put into the channel, so you can connect with us there. If after Phil, if we have a few questions, we'll answer those, and then we're going to do a quick rapid fire round robin, specifically around the strategic. One thing that everyone here believes you should focus on your business in the next 90 days to make sure that you are absolutely killing the next 11 weeks really killing Q4 coming up. But we'll come back to that and have one of those insights from everyone here. But let's go ahead, Phil.
Okay.
We can see your screen.
All right, great. So I want to talk about the Amazon ad format that your competitors aren't really using. Like I said, I'm Phil Masiello. I'm the founder of CrunchGrowth, and we have a long history going back using video and television shopping and video shopping to generate sales. And we're very good at using video today on social media, and I believe that that's just going to continue. Static image ads and static posts don't really have the same effect as video, and video is so easy to create these days to talk about your product, and the more authentic you can be, it's very practical. But there's a couple of keys to it. So just to talk about, because I think everybody's leaving money on the table, the costs have come down so dramatically that you could really get into doing Fire TV ads for about $5,000 a month. And when you look at how much money people are spending on the ad platforms, really $5,000, if you're getting a ROAS of 6x, 7x, 8x, it pays for itself, and then you can keep putting money into it. So, but let me just explain it a little bit more. So why they work is, the reason that they work so well is because you have the ability to precisely look at who your audience is. And this directly goes after what's happening today with AI. You're talking about connected TV. You're talking about it on a big screen, on your phone, on a laptop, on whatever. Anybody who's dialed into connected to it, to Fire TV or Amazon. So they know who it is. You know exactly the demographics, the psychographics. Amazon knows everything about you. So you can precisely target those people, exactly who your buyer is going to be. And Amazon is looking at the history of the buyer. So you're not going through the ad platform necessarily, you're going through the demand side platform, which is Amazon's DSP. And so you've got a lot more information, a lot more targeting information in there that you can use. And the beauty of it is, if John and I were in the same room watching the exact same show, and he was on one side of the room, I was on the other, and we were both on our laptops, he would see a different ad than I would see. And that's the beauty of precision targeting. So you're really looking at who exactly that person is that has the best chance of buying your product. And then, you've got multi-screen impact. It doesn't matter whether somebody watches the show on a big screen, on their iPad, on their phone, wherever they're watching it, you're delivering ads to them. And the other beauty of it is those ads are shoppable. So it's not just showing you an ad. There's generally a clickable portion, whether it's a QR code or whether it's an actual click to the product page. They're shoppable, and that makes them highly convertible, because if the customer is watching a show and they see it 2, 3, 4 times, they're going to click in. So, so the next one is, these are the 5 keys to success. So it's laser focused targeting. So you really have to understand, you have to look at the data that you have. You have to look at the data that's coming out of your brand portfolio. You have to look at who's buying your product, and you have to really get an understanding of that. And then you have to have really great creative. The flaw we see sometimes is people just taking the videos that they've created for their product pages and trying to use those on TV. It just doesn't work. You need to develop great creative that's going to capture attention. You look at Dr. Squatch, you look at Squatty Potty, you look at some of the brands that have done a phenomenal job with their creative to capture attention, because you've only got about 3 or 4 seconds in the beginning to get people to want to sit there and watch the last 28 seconds of it. You've got to have, as we've talked about in multiple times today, about Amazon optimized landing pages. And again, not just traditional search keyword, but more optimized for AI, because all of this is being fed off of AI. And then you've got to have a smart budget. You've got to know what you think you're going to spend, and don't try and pull all your money and do it, in 30 days. You want to test it in the first couple of weeks. Make sure that you have a great understanding of who that target is. Make sure that your creative is working, and you'll learn that pretty quickly. And then make sure that your landing pages are converting. And because again, those are sort of the flaws. People don't really know who they're targeting. They don't have great creative, and their landing pages are okay. And then they want to do Fire TV ads, and they see the traffic coming, but the pages aren't converting. So you really have to follow those big three, and then you can integrate it into your other parts of your funnels, into your display ads, your brand ads, because what's going to happen is, even if the customer goes to the page, doesn't buy, you're going to be able to follow them. You're going to be able to retarget them, and that's going to show up with their sponsored display and sponsored brand ads. And the reason you want to start moving now is most sellers don't even test Fire TV because they just assume it's too expensive or too complex. The DSP is not that complex when you get into it. Sometimes you might need a partner to do it with, because, so for example, I think access to the DSP is a spend of $15,000 a month. But if you have a brand partner that's already spending money, your spend could be as low as $5,000 a month. And so you really need somebody who's been doing it for a while as a partner to help you understand it. But it's a great tool when it works. The demand side platform, again, has so many more levers to it, so much more targeting, so much more focus, that you really get an understanding of who your customer is, because it's a constant back and forth. It's feeding you back information as much as you're giving it information. You're giving it the foundation information on who you think your customer is, what you think their habits are. But then Amazon has a ton of data on customer behavior, customer coming in, what they're doing on the site, where they're going. So they're feeding you the information on the customer that's got a best chance of converting for your product. And again, so I say here, ready to get started, because you don't really want to wait. We talk about the fourth quarter, and the fourth quarter always gets mucky. Everybody dives in on Amazon, off Amazon. Everybody starts spending a ton of money, and you got to figure out a way to set yourself apart and to show yourself differently. And when we look at Fire TV ads, for the most part, I would say 70% of them are just boring. And so when you can come up with a great piece of creative that you can run on Fire TV that captures attention, you've got a great chance of making serious returns on that investment. So, what we've seen is, generally an average of 2 to 3% higher brand recall than regular Amazon ads, up to 40% lower cost per acquisition. We average 22% increase in overall Amazon store traffic, but we also average about a 20% increase in Amazon product sales when we run Fire TV ads. So they generally are very effective, and the clients that we've done it with have continued to do it over the years, and for more than a year, and have pushed more and more money into it, and less in some of the other areas. So if you want to talk about it, feel free to reach out to me directly, reach out to crunchgrowth.com. We've got a page on there about Fire TV ads and connected TV ads in general, because we do connected TV ads across all platforms, not just on Amazon, because they're effective and the costs have come down so much. But again, the biggest key is when you say to yourself, should I do it? Do you really understand who your customer is? And second, do you have a great piece of creative? Because if you don't have a great piece of creative, we can help you get that creative, but you really need to have it. You have 3 seconds to capture that customer's attention and get them to want to stay. So that's what I have for you today. Tried to get through it quick for you.
Phil, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, thinking about it differently, and just going back to this idea of great creative, right? Like, one of the things that AI is so good at is now creative brainstorming and then execution on that. I mean, and some of the ads that people are coming out with, like, that are just completely bonkers and bizarre, but you can do that nowadays. Like, I think there's the one with like the Yeti gorilla running around, right? And just some cool stuff. So, there's license to be as creative as you can, but you can actually execute on it in a very efficient way. So just 2 questions there, Phil. Like, one comment I would say is, like, the other thing for people who sell on Amazon, the more you can use their platforms, DSP, Fire TV, they're all connected in the background, right? So if you're using those platforms, it's on Amazon to say, hey, if people are starting to see Fire ads, why don't we show their product more in a more visible way on Amazon? Because there's relevance and there's a connection, and they're going to get more sales. and therefore they're going to make more money, right? So the point is, like, if you have that ability, use all the platforms that are available. I'm just curious, like, in your opinion, like, is there a specific size of a business that needs to be at to be able to use it? I know, like, obviously with DSP, there's a certain size business. Like, is this good for businesses that are doing like 2 million plus in annual revenue, 5 million, 10 million, 1 million? Like, where do you sit?
Generally, if you're spending more, I look at more in terms of what you're spending to get, and if you're spending, in my opinion, more than $10,000 a month, then you're a prime candidate. So generally, people spending $10,000 a month or more are doing north of $700,000 in sales, and trying to get more. But there, unfortunately, I don't think the conversion is there on sponsored product ads and sponsored brand ads enough. So we've taken brands, and scaled them with, again, $5,000 a month, and been able to show tremendous returns. So I think if you're 700,000 and you've got the money to spare, you've got great profitability on your item, because that's really what it comes down to, right? Is if you're profitable, if you've got the money to spare. So, yeah.
Great. When are they showing via TV ads? I'm just curious. Is it just when you're logging on in the beginning, or is it actually during shows? Like what?
Not during shows, after shows, before shows, in between shows. And again, they're highly clickable, and you're seeing them depending on where you're watching. You could be watching on your phone, you could be watching on an iPad, you watch on your television, but they're showing in multiple places. And again, to me, video is so much better, and I think it's just, this trend is just going to continue. Social selling, it's so much better because you have the opportunity in 30 seconds or 15 seconds or 45 seconds to really talk about your product and connect with that customer, because that's what it's all about. The customer, you want to make that connection with the customer.
And it's a journey, right? So if they see you ads there, again, to what I said, your sponsored ads are probably going to improve in conversion if you're getting any visibility up front before they get in there. So pretty cool. Very cool, guys. Okay, so I see this is the last chance. Any questions coming in? I mean, I know, thanks, Ryan, you jumped in and answered a bunch of questions there, which is great. Thanks everyone for being in here. I think we'll do the round robin. So if you want to share one specific thing that the audience here could focus on to really help with the growth of their business as we head into Q4, that can be literally anything that comes to mind for you. What would that be? We'll go with Tyler first.
Yeah, this might sound boring, but honestly, the most impactful thing I would do right now is, instead of taking a one-size-fits-all approach to your Q4 plan, take the time and do a product level plan for how you're going to execute in Q4. On the supply side, it's never been more important, because we've got capacity limits that are going to mean that you can't stay in stock on every single product in your catalog. You need to be very specific about where you're leaning in. And Q4 storage fees are also 3 times as high. So you also don't want to give up margin by just trying to do everything across your entire catalog. And then on the demand side, you've got, deals have probably never been more powerful, because you have better targeting and audience-based marketing and things that Amazon hasn't provided in the past. But on average, Amazon deal fees are also higher than they've ever been in the past. So for all those reasons, like, you need to be really specific about, okay, not just I'm going to do lightning deals for everything on Black Friday, or I'm going to do coupons for Prime Big Deal Days. Like, you need to have a product-specific strategy, and that's really going to make or break your quarter, I believe.
Awesome. Ryan?
I would say you have to be testing something new this year, no matter what, because you can't expect the same results or better results if you're doing the same things last year. And the one I would look at is increasing prices. I think a lot of people are worried about that. I know you can't sell to Amazon at a higher price. They've told all the vendor central, like, no. But what I love about Amazon is the vast majority of your customers do not have the tools that we do that can see price increases. So if you've got a bunch of reviews that say it's a great value and you're at 15, go to 18, and they're not going to know that those great values were at 15. And so there's a lot higher price elasticity on Amazon than you expect. So test higher prices. I think it's underutilized by the vast majority of brands.
Yeah, super cool. We have a tool that analyzes at what price point are most customers buying. Like, we kind of price them out. Like, so we show at a certain price range, is that where most customers are buying? And what we see more times than not, more people are buying at the more expensive price point than the product that is being analyzed. So, therein lies your answer, right? If always knowing where customers are buying and being priced at that is critical. Cool, Phil.
I think Tyler made a great point about you can't focus on your whole portfolio. You have to really be focused. And Ryan was talking about price points. The customer today is very hesitant about spending money. They're concerned about what's happening with the economy, they're concerned about what's happening with price. And so you really have to take the items that you can focus on where you're providing great value to the customer and focus on those items, the ones that provide great value, because if the customer likes those items, is going to be an effect on the rest of your items, right? But you can't focus on everything. So just focus on where you can give the best value.
Great. And I think my comment I would say is related to AI, and Ryan kind of touched on this, but it's this idea of like, hey, we're all smart business people. We're getting ready for Q4. We're going to block and tackle and hopefully get all the basic things right. One of the really cool things about AI is using it as this intelligent communication channel that can give you ideas as to how to be unique and different, right? So whether that's on your listing, and once you have the baseline of everything optimized, how do you create something that is completely different and arresting, that can get the customer engaged, or doing something different, like your ads on Fire TV or whatever that is, right? Like, AI provides the opportunity to really prompt it in the right way to get these crazy ideas back that could really meet your strategy need, but do something in a unique way that is completely different to your competitors. And you can do that at the product level, at the brand level. There's many ways, but if you can get your baselines right, leave some space to think about that unique thing, because it can make a huge difference to your business overall. So, good, guys. Well, thank you everyone for being on here. We've got the stats here. Everyone has been watching throughout the whole presentation, which has been fantastic. There will be a replay. There are a bunch that are not on here as well. All of these offers stand for any replays that are watched. You can reach out to everyone here to connect or get access to betas like ours. I hope everyone has a great Q4 ahead. There's going to be some awesome things coming up. Look out for the next agency presentation next month. We have one coming up and a few offers in between. So looking forward to that and wishing everyone the best of luck. Thanks again to everyone here. We'll connect afterwards, but I appreciate all the effort that's gone in and for the things that you've shared. They are amazing, and I think everyone will be able to access them. So thank you, guys.
Thanks for hosting, John.
Thanks,
All right,
John.
catch you guys soon. Cheers. Bye. Good luck.